Here's what it can feel like when you have a dysregulated nervous system. So, one of the first things that can happen is sleep disruptions. Chronic insomnia, you can't fall asleep. You lay in bed and you're tired. You've got like looping thoughts, you replay old situations, and it feels like your brain doesn't stop, and or your body feels restless. If you just like can't get comfortable, if you feel like you have to keep like almost like shaking and moving to feel comfortable and okay in your body, this is often a sign of a dysregulated nervous system. Headaches and migraines. If you've got consistent and chronic headaches, migraines, I'm not talking about an occasional headache. Migraines can be from a few different things, but if these things are pretty chronic, this is often a sign of, yes, it can be other things, but a dysregulated nervous system plays a really big role in having chronic and consistent headaches and migraines. And getting our body back into a safe place can go a super, super long way in decreasing the frequency and intensity of these things. Number three, mental health struggles, especially anxiety. If you have anxiety, and this is coming from someone who dealt with anxiety for such a long time, I was on medication for a decade that I always tell people I felt like a zombie at best. I tried all of the combos out there, and I spent 10 years in therapy on top of that, and it never really changed how I felt because my nervous system didn't get regulated. No one taught me that I had a dysregulated nervous system, let alone how to start getting my nervous system into a more regulated spot. And just like chronic anxiety, chronic crippling, often crippling anxiety was a really, really big deal. The racing thoughts, the looping thoughts, always being aware of my surroundings and like hyper aware of my surroundings, of the people, matching my personality to the people in the room, especially to make sure that there was no conflict, that there was no disruptions, nothing crazy going on, and just being hyper aware of other people's emotions and matching my emotions or regulating other people's emotions based on how I was acting, and almost the way I like to describe it is feeling like your nervous system or just feeling like your body's a bug zapper, just that low grade kind of level, like turned on buzzing feeling is really what it felt like in my body. And I hear a lot of other people relate to this as well. Chronic pain and inflammation. This was a really big one. And I didn't understand when I had chronic pain and really bad chronic inflammatory issues that a lot of this had to do with my nervous system being super, super dysregulated, and my body just couldn't control the inflammation, and pain showed up in a variety of ways for a variety of reasons, but a dysregulated nervous system was a really, really big one. And we know the studies are really clear that especially if you have a history of childhood trauma, if you score, I think it's a 2 or higher on the ACEs test, that you are more prone to chronic inflammatory issues as an adult. We notice yours like CRP, and inflammatory markers are consistently higher than those who did not experience childhood trauma, which is pretty crazy that we can see that. Also more prone to autoimmune issues, which was also my case. But a lot of this goes back to just our nervous system being so dysregulated and dysregulated from a very, very young and early age. And last but not least, GI issues. GI issues are super, super common. This could be bloating, this could be gas, acid reflux, just like a pregnant belly, bowel movements irregular. And this is because when we're stuck in the state of chronic fight or flight, which is really at the basis what a dysregulated nervous system is, we're not in a safe place to digest our food. If we think back in the day when we were stuck in the state of fight or flight, this would be temporary when we were being chased by a predator or an animal, and we weren't going to stop being chased to go have a meal and properly digest our food. No, we would finish this thing happening, and then once we're in a relaxed state again, then we would eat. And the problem is when we're chronically stuck in this state and we don't come back into that more relaxed parasympathetic state, our body's not going to properly digest our food, and it starts with lower stomach acid production. We're just not being able to properly digest our food, and we can end up with leaky gut overgrowth, all kinds of gut issues and dysfunctions. And so this plays a really big role. So If any or all of this sounds like you, there's a really good chance that you may also have a dysregulated nervous system. So stay tuned for my next video on how to actually start regulating your nervous system.